And on Nine's Wide World of Sports, we welcome you once again to the Coca-Cola Classic, coming to you from the Logan City Lanes in southeast Queensland. The last two matches have seen two very close women's games. The men's matches so far haven't been as close, but I'm sure this one is going to prove a very exciting game indeed. It's between Robbie Hinton and Kevin Harding. And Rob, a good win in your first appearance, and that must have given you some confidence.
Yeah, well, I was fortunate enough to get through, and I was going to do the same thing today, go out there and take it one shot at a time.
Have you played Kevin before?
No, I haven't. I've seen him bowl a lot before, though.
Robbie Hinton is now based at Grafton in New South Wales, where he's a promotions officer. He has a high game of 289. He was a member of the Australian youth team in 1985, and in that year was the Asian Youth Masters champion, and also took out the Brisbane Masters Championship. Well, Kevin, it's been a good year for you during 1986, highlighted by that win in the Australian Masters, and that must have been a great boost for you.
Yes, John, very much so. I'm looking forward to a good effort here. I'm looking forward to playing Robbie, and looking forward to the rest of the tournament.
Well, you would have watched Robbie in his last win over John Willems, who'd been going well, so he's in good form.
Yes, he is, definitely. We qualified together, so I realise his potential, and we're going to have a good match.
Kevin Harding comes from the Adelaide suburb of Salisbury. He's one of the few Australians that on 3 occasions have bowled a perfect 300 game, and he's the current world doubles champion. In 1986, he was the Australian doubles champion, and as well took out the Australian Masters Championship. So this should be a tremendous match between the very talented Robbie Hinton up against Kevin Harding, South Australia's representative in the Coca-Cola Classic. Steve Mackey, you're going to chance your arm and make a selection?
Well, Kevin Harding's got his tail up after winning the Australian Masters, and gee, that won't do Robbie's confidence any good, because he likes to pride himself on being able to carry the 5-pin. Have a look at this ball. That was as dead as a doornail when it hit. But I think Kevin Harding, perhaps.
So Robbie Hinton will bowl the first frame, and then Kevin Harding will bowl the next 2 frames. And joining us for this match, Terry Wenban, the 1985 Australian Bowler of the Year. Terry, what's your selection?
I think this is going to be a very tight match. Robbie's pumped up for this, and Kevin's just come in. I think it'll be pretty close all around. Make a selection. I'd have to go for Kevin. He's more experienced.
So Robbie Hinton opens with his spare in the first frame. And now for the first time in the Coca-Cola Classic, the appearance of the 1986 Australian Masters champion, Kevin Harding.
Kevin gets the ball into play very soon. He doesn't have much of a push away, does he, Terry?
No, he doesn't. I think it's not real good out there today. I think he should be getting the ball well down the lane and pushing the ball away and then getting it well down. He's bowling it a bit short.
Yes, I got that feeling in practice too, and let's just wonder if his experience is going to come through. Well, that was a better push away. No question about that, and it's a spare for Kevin Harding, so they're both spares in the first frame, and I think it will be a tight match. I'd like to see some strikes. There won't be a 300 game in this, and of course the Goldpin bowling centres have put up $5,000 for the first person to bowl a 300 in this, and Kevin with 3 300 games, we would hope would have been one of the big chances to do it again.
So Kevin moves across to lane 11 to bowl his second frame. Looks better. So there's the first strike of the match to Kevin Harding of South Australia. And the reply that Robbie Hinton would be looking for would be his first strike. He's on lane 12 attempting it.
Very indifferent shot, that one. Way over to the left of the 1 pin. He looked pretty good in practice, but he's up against a tough nut here. He didn't sound all that confident in the interview either. Well, this to pick up his spare. He
needs it. And he's got it.
Robbie's certainly improved his style and finishing point, Terry, in the last 6 months or so. He's obviously done a lot of work on it in Grafton.
Robbie bowled out with all of us earlier in the year, and then he's taken the last 3 or 4 months off bowling the tournaments to perfect that, and he's bowling much better than he did earlier in the year.
And there's Ruth Gerster, who was eliminated in one of the early matches in the women's division.
So there's the first strike for Robbie Hinton. At the end of the completed first frame, Kevin Harding held a 2-pin lead, 20-18. Kevin with that strike to build on in the second. Ooh, but that makes it very awkward for him.
Yes, he's left the washout spare. That's the code name for it in 10-pin bowling parlance. And he's going to be aiming for the left of the front pin, the 1 pin. He'll be trying to slide that pin all the way down to the 10, and the ball will take care of the other 2 pins. But a tall order in frame 3 of this match. Chance. Yes!
Oh, he's got it. Brilliantly bowled, Kevin Harding. So having got that very well bowled spare, he hits straight back with a strike, really starting to show now his best ball.
What a strike that was. Beautiful ball, Terry. What do you think of that one?
That was an excellent ball by Kevin. He's moved his shot in a little bit. He's bowled it a lot better and a lot more confident. I think that picking that spare up really raised his confidence.
Yes, you almost always strike after sparing a split, but we're back with Robbie Hinton now in frame 4. Boy, he's vicious today. He is pumped up. Seems as though that body English of his helped that last pin to go over. It looked like it was going to stand for a moment. It wasn't game in the end.
At the completion of the second frame, it was a 2-pin lead to Kevin Harding. 40 plays 38. But Rob Hinton showing with that last strike that his best form is now starting to appear.
6 pins the difference now, following that 8 count after 2 strikes in a row, and it seems the guys are getting stuck on 2 and 3 strikes in a row. They just can't quite crack it for a big string of strikes.
So this couple of strikes in a row gave Robbie Hinton the lead at the end of the third. He'd taken over for the first time, leading by 6, 66-60. There's his spare.
Well, Terry, we saw in the last match that you commentated, Craig Whitby from Cairns changed balls, and you picked it. He did miss the spare that you said he was a bit suspect on. And interesting to note then, Rob did the right thing. He attacked the spare. As we've seen so often, the bowlers having trouble on the even-numbered lane. The lane just will not come back for them, and no one's really bowling the right line on that lane, in my opinion. What do you think, Terry?
Yes, they're always having trouble with lane 12, and as you said before, they're getting stuck on 2 strikes. I think the pressure and the tension is really starting to show on the players as they get halfway through the game.
Yes, none of them are doing it easily, that's for sure. Big money at stake in the Coca-Cola Classic this year. Last year, the total prize money in the tournament was less than $5,000, and this year it's $20,000, and John, a couple of trips to America.
He is flying over with Qantas, the Spirit of Australia, to compete in a tournament in Las Vegas, which carries $1 million US in prize money. So great incentive. That puts the pressure on them. Kevin Harding now going over to lane 11. He trailed by 6 at the end of the fourth. It was 86 Robbie Hinton to 80 Kevin Harding.
That's a good-looking shot.
Certainly is. He was happy with that from the moment of release.
Yes, he's lined up on lane 11, and excellent follow through. And he knew it was a good one. Breaking the tension there, talking to one of the spectators as Robbie Hinton lines up in frame 6.
What a great comeback by young Robbie Hinton.
At 19 years of age, he's showing tremendous maturity.
So still 6 pins the difference to Robbie Hinton at the completion of the 5th frame. He leads by 106 to 100.
Yes, and Robbie comes from a great bowling family. Bowls quite a lot in Grafton.
Another great crowd in at Logan City Lanes for the Coca-Cola Classic. Robbie Hinton over to lane 11.
Trouble. He got away with it. He wasn't aiming for that pocket, but there they go. Kevin Harding has to get a double now to stay 6 pins in arrears. Tough times for the Australian Masters champion. Boy, what a reply.
Great comeback by Kevin Harding, and this really is turning into a super game as we expected. Hinton will move across to lane 11.
Tried to be too good on that one. He really gave that a heap, didn't he, Terry?
Yes, he really did. I thought he was in a lot of trouble then with that ball. He's really trying to put the game away now. Kevin's sitting there looking pretty good. If Robbie makes a mistake, he really only has to stay clean at the moment.
And now Kevin Harding coming up in his 9th frame, the foundation frame. Kevin's elected to finish first, being the higher seeded bowler, if he can get a strike. Looks all right.
And over it goes. He had to wait just a few anxious moments, but it fell for him.
Let's have another look at it. Great pin action. That's 7 pin. 3.5 pounds of pin just falls in time. Well, Kevin Harding can close the door here. If he gets 3 strikes, he'll shoot 229, and Robbie Hinton won't be able to win. Oh boy, what a ball under the whip. Great
Tremendous
stuff.
pressure bowling by Kevin Harding.
Yes, excellent stuff. And we were saying no one can get more than a double, but when you get 2 or 3 doubles, that's as good as a 4 or 5 bagger in any case. And they've done a very good match here. This one to win. There's still room. 218 with a spare, and Robbie Hinton has room for 223. And Kevin knows it. He was really hoping for that one. Robbie Hinton has a chance now. 218, the highest game we've had so far.
There's the spare, so Kevin Harding finishes with 218. Well bowled, the Australian Masters champion, but is it going to be good enough? Well, it all rests with the young fellow from Grafton, Robbie Hinton.
This is a real test of his character and maturity. Needs this one. Well, what a good match it was. Dragged it too much, but I think perhaps when he looks back at this game, he'll know that the 9th frame was the one that cost him when he really tried far too hard on his last visit to lane 11.
Yeah, I think lane 9 was the turning point. Kevin's experience showed out in that match there. He waited and he composed himself, and Robbie wasn't doing a great deal, and he was started to jag the ball, pull the ball onto the headpin towards the end, and he waited through a couple of good shots. The first shot on lane 11 was a very good shot, and he's ended up winning by a couple of pins.
Well, that's a finish for Robbie Hinton. A 2-12 game.
Finishes with a strike, says thank you to the crowd for the way they got behind him, and then goes over to congratulate Kevin Harding. Well played, Robbie Hinton, and well played, Kevin Harding. A great game. But Kevin Harding, the Australian Masters champion, wins by 218 to 212. The Coca-Cola Classic so far, a tremendous game, and Robbie Hinton, your check for finishing in 12th place. Well done, well bowled. I suppose when you look back, that 9th frame might have been just the turning point for you.
Oh, I don't think so. I think Kevin beat me. He threw 2 of the best pressure shots I've seen. In fact, I haven't seen 2 better shots thrown like that against anybody, you know, ever.
Well bowled.
Unfortunately, it was me today.
Good on you, Robbie. Kevin Harding, well, you're not the Australian Masters champion for nothing. Great pressure bowling there to come from behind.
Thank you very much, John. Yeah, I figured it was going to be a tough match against Robbie, and I was lucky to get the breaks when I did, and I think the first hurdle's the hardest, so from here on in I'll give him my best shot.
Well, the next match that we'll be seeing Kevin in will be against the Queenslander Michael Will Dyson. We look forward to having you back for more of the action from the Coca-Cola Classic at Logan City Loads.